Hey, what's up guys? Rev here. Sorry for the EDP jump scare, but this creature has come out of hiding to call out anime fans. In a recent statement, he titles, "We must protect our kids," where ironically, this man, most known for being attracted to real-life children, calls out anime fans over the topic of lolicon and of course calls them all pedos for being into that stuff or even defending it. And in this presidential styled address he makes here, I think he's earned himself the status of the new CEO of Antes. They've never really had a leader before, but I think EDP makes a great candidate for their leader. So every time you see Antes spouting off about lolicon equaling pedophilia, you can say this is the man who agrees with you. This is the kind of person who is the leader of Antes. But we're going to get into this video because it's quite crazy. And also, just before we get into this is an archive account. This person does not support EDP. They actually give links to his account so you can report them. So don't kill the messenger here. But before we get into the actual video itself, let's remind ourselves of who EDP445 is. He was a YouTuber, now disgraced, who once had millions of subscribers. His whole claim to fame was having these very unhinged, unfiltered rants about a whole wide range of topics. But back in 2020, his downfall and fall from grace began when there was a whole slew of allegations involving child grooming and pedophilia came out against him. And the main thing everyone knows is the cupcake incident, where back in 2021, he was caught by a YouTube channel that is like a predator exposing channel who set up a decoy to talk to EDP445, where for over a year, he talked sexually with what he believed was a 13-year-old child, and then eventually went out to meet that child to, of course, engage in sexual behavior, where, of course, he was caught by the sting operation. And despite the fact that that channel who made that video has since been terminated, that is one of the most memorable arcs in YouTube history. Everyone was talking about it, and that is what he is most known for being attracted to a real-life 13-year-old child, or what he thought was a 13-year-old child. And a small segue, I just have to get this in here. It really bothers me that that's like the only time people ever started caring about EDP and his attraction to children. Meanwhile, even like a year before the cupcake incident, he was caught having sexual messages to a handful of underage kids from the ages of 14 to 16, and he publicly mocked all of these people calling him out for it, and basically said his only defense was that they dressed provocatively, so they deserved that he talked that way to them. Very strange stuff. But here's the video itself. For context, when he's saying we must protect our kids, he is talking about Chris Tyson, who is affiliated with the Mr. Beast channel. Chris recently transitioned, and a lot of people have been talking about that. But the reason EDP is talking about Chris Tyson is because they found different comments and likes and interactions that hinted that Chris might have been or might still be a lolicon, right? And these tweets came all the way back from like 2016, 2017. And some of the interactions included with Shadman, who is someone we'll talk about shortly, and also saying that he is, or at least joking that he is attracted to lolly characters. And the reason EDP is talking about this is to paint Chris Tyson as a pedo because of this. And he's saying that we need to protect our kids by getting rid of Chris Tyson over this situation. The same man who is most known for being attracted to real children is going to lecture about fictional content. Let's give it a listen, no matter how painful it might be.
Chris Tyson is friends with somebody named, I think his name is Chadman, whatever the fuck his name is. And Chris Tyson and Shadman, they're into lolicon.
So, in case you don't know, Shadman is a very controversial artist, someone that was very popular a few years back, and for a long time existed without controversy other than just making edgy, lolly-type artwork. But eventually they got exposed because they were tracing real-life children, including people like Keemstar's, I believe, 7-year-old daughter at the time. And that's when people said, that's the line, okay? Now you are an actual predator because you're using real children as inspiration for your not safe for work art. that is crossing the line. That's different than your regular run-of-the-mill lolicon that's not based on real people and is just fiction. This was a moment when Shadman was taking real children and sexualizing them. That's why people dropped Shadman. Eventually, he was essentially ran off of every single platform. And Chris Tyson back in 2016, 2017 had several interactions with Shadman's Twitter account, and he posted some of Shadman's artwork that he had purchased for his home and was hanging up. So clearly he supported Shadman at some time. The question I raised when all this happened was, did Chris Tyson know at the time that Shadman was tracing real children for some of his artwork? And there's a legitimate point of view that could say he probably didn't know, because a lot of people weren't aware of that stuff or it hadn't happened yet. But that's the concern with Shadman. So EDP is trying to lump in Chris Tyson with Shadman, but not just because of the tracing of the real children, just because they share an interest in lolicon, which is something that EDP is going to lecture us on the definition of right now.
And if you guys don't know what lolicon is basically my nigga, the way I'm gonna describe it, lolicon is basically Japanese manga that is little kids getting fucked and getting sexually abused and sexually fucking molested by by their older parents through anime Japanese manga and the fuck.
Yeah, so obviously, if you have any sort of knowledge of the subject, you know what he's saying is completely wrong. Lolicon and lolly has nothing to do with age. A lolly character is based on the fact that it has a petite body type, whether it's short, petite frame, and then you couple that with cute aesthetics. It has nothing to do with age. There's characters like Rebecca from Cyberpunk that are in their 20s, or Tatsumaki from One Piece that are lollies despite being in their 20s. It's because of their body type. And it's a body type that is exclusive to anime, manga, and related fictional content. And of course, EDP here is going the Twitter anti-route, where he is saying that it has something to do with age and that it's underage kids being put in these situations and making it very specific, okay? I think he's just kind of going off on his own fantasies, talking about parents doing this stuff. He's obviously pretty familiar with how abusing young children looks like, right? So this is his own headcanon of what lolicon is, and it's obviously quite wrong, and it's what Twitter freaks will normally call it, and obviously quite wrong about that stuff. And let me just allow EDP to continue making himself look like a projecting loser in this case.
Fucking weird ass, freak ass, emo comic book type shits. You know what I mean? You know how like you get like the manga, the Japanese manga, little comics and shit like that. You know what I mean? That's basically what the fuck lolicon is. You feel me? By the way, lolicon is actually illegal in the United States.
Yeah, the average Twitter user, am I right? So to clarify, lolicon is not illegal in the United States. I can literally go jump in my car, drive over to Barnes & Noble, and purchase manga with lolicon in it right on the shelf, right in the open. I can go on to Amazon right now, do the same exact thing. It is not illegal in the United States. The law that pertains to all this stuff, the federal statute, says that in order for anything to even be considered when it's fictional, to be considered CP, it must be indistinguishable from a real-life child. Meaning that if you put the fictional artwork next to a real child, you won't be able to tell the difference between which one is real and which one is fake. It is extremely, extremely rare that that's even a question, let alone used to actually convict anyone, okay? It is a very, very high standard. Okay, I don't care what Twitter freaks and people like EDP think when they see a bug-eyed anime girl. Those don't look like children. It's not even close, right? That's very obvious. And the only time this really comes up is when it involves deep fakes, okay, where you're actually swapping a real-life child's face or body onto the body of an adult's face or body and vice versa, where there's an actual child being involved. But in the case of 99.99999% of fictional content, that standard isn't even relevant because it's clearly not depicting a real-life child and is not going to be confused or indistinguishable from a real one. But of course, here's EDP spreading misinformation and again trying to, I guess, protect himself because he's the self-projecting pedo in this case.
Any adult that supports this nasty ass, disgusting fucking shit, something is fucking wrong with you. Go get fucking help.
As he literally talks to himself, EDP of all people in the world is trying to tell people to get help and stay away from children because of their interest in fictional content. That is the most hilarious case of irony you'll ever see. Zero self-awareness, and I don't know if it's just desperation at this point. EDP is like a cockroach who just cannot leave the internet. He has put his whole life into creating content. He had his moments where years back he was very successful and he was very well liked for his unfiltered rants about whatever topic, but his fall from grace has really put him in a hole. He still has a community. That's the craziest thing about it. He still has a community after being outed for trying to meet up with a 13-year-old and also talking to a handful of other minors in a sexual way online. He still has a community that supports him everywhere he goes. He gets banned pretty much within a week or two of joining a platform, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Wherever he goes, he'll last for a little bit, gets reported, then pops up somewhere new, and it happens all over again. You'll notice the second he starts off, great amount of support, and people are happy to see him back, and they're still saying he's innocent. It's crazy to me. And again, this account has links. You can see him right there. I mean, there's plenty of accounts you can still report, but EDP is not going anywhere, and I don't know if he's getting desperate for relevancy. I mean, he's been doing this for like 2 years now, trying to grasp onto his internet life and career, and he's going this route of being an anti. And like I said earlier, I elect this man as the CEO of antis. This guy should be the face of antis from Twitter, TikTok, or wherever. This is the guy that leads them, right? This is the guy who agrees with their opinion that lolicon is pedophilia. You know, the guy who actually abuses or attempts to abuse real-life children, right? This is the face. So remember, this is the kind of person you're arguing with on Twitter who believes these things. And honestly, it's hilarious. You know, spread the message, spread the word. There is a new leader of the antis. They're no longer leaderless. They have EDP at the helm, supporting their views. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. I know it's a pretty dark and murky subject here. And, you know, again, my apologies for the EDP jump scare. I know he's hard to look at, but yeah, it's important to archive where he's at and to not let him basically get a free pass to say and do whatever he wants, and to keep tracking his online presence because he is a dangerous individual. But that is going to do it for this video. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please share all of your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.